Seller finance deals, the absolute best. But when it actually happens for people, a very common question that comes to me is, how do I wholesale it? Well, it's pretty simple. And I've got three options for you. First way, if you have the right to assign in your contract with the seller, if you've got that right in your contract, assign the contract along with the terms to your buyer. Pretty simple. But for this to be seamless, you're going to need to lay the groundwork up front with the seller to assure that the seller is willing to allow those financing terms to pass through to a new buyer. Not difficult, no, just some extra rapport building and deal negotiation is needed, that's all. Second way, you can conduct a double escrow in which the new buyer would assume the note that you have in place with the seller. Again, not terribly difficult. Just need to have that conversation with the seller up front and be sure to include an assumption clause in your note with the seller. Third way, and this is the only way I do it anymore. I'll never say never, but this is how I'm doing all of them now. And I'm doing it this way because I can essentially pocket the same amount of cash that I would from a traditional wholesale deal, and I can get monthly cash flow for up to 30 years thereafter. Here, I'll use one of my clients' recent deals as an example. And this is a great deal he put together. It's got a great ROI, and he's going to hold on to this property as his exit strategy. It's a good property. But I'm going to show you an alternative exit strategy where you could turn this great ROI into an infinite one. Rather than renting the property at $1,200 to $1,300 a month that Nathan said it would go for, what if we sold it? But how? There's no equity, right? Nathan paid almost full retail for it. Well, here's how. How difficult would it be to find a tenant that would be willing to buy this house if the payment were close to the same it would cost to rent it? Not difficult at all is the answer. There are plenty of people with poor credit scores that can't qualify for a conventional loan, or their debt-to-income ratio won't allow them to qualify, and they'd rather own than rent still. So let's offer a loan to the buyer, our own seller financing. Let's sell for top dollar. We'll sell it for $190,000. We'll ask for a 10% down payment, $19,000, and we'll carry the balance of $171,000 at 9%. We'll amortize that over 30 years. That would create a monthly payment for the buyer at $1,376. Pretty darn close to what it would cost for the buyer to rent. That's what's in it for the buyer. But let's look at what's in it for you. You just put $19,000 in your pocket, the down payment that the buyer gave you. And you're collecting $1,376 each month from the buyer. And after you make your payment of $178 for the money you borrowed for the down payment for the $9,000 and the payment of $500 to the original seller, you're left with $698 of monthly cash flow. And what's more, you are no longer a landlord. I mean, if anything breaks in the property, it's the new owner's responsibility, not yours. And since you borrowed the $9,000, you have zero money in this deal. So what does that do to your cash-on-cash return? I mean, if you have no money in the deal, this actually, it can't be calculated. It turns your original 96% cash-on-cash return into an infinite one. You just created money out of thin air. See, not a money problem, an idea problem. And how long would it take for you to escape the rat race with a new set of ideas like this? So those are three ways that you can wholesale a seller finance property. What I just showed you, that's how you can have your cake and eat it too. You got the cash up front and then you got the cash flow thereafter. And we use a 3-option letter of intent in our business to secure seller finance deals like these. This is the same 3-option letter of intent that Nathan used to secure his deal. And if you'd like a copy of this letter of intent, if you want to take this and use it in your market, go to epicloi.com and you can download it there for free. epicloi.com, and then you can download this for free. Take care.